I've been working outside today, just kind of, as we say, putzing around, doing a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's warm. It's quite warm. It's quite humid. It's like approaching tropical level humidity. So I thought, what better time than to put myself on the internet than right now? Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty and this is my handmade lifestyle. Today I would like to give you a brief garden tour just to give you an update of what's going on. Things have changed so much since I filmed my previous garden tour, which I'll link up here, one of these sides. I can never tell. Wherever it is, it'll pop up about now. Yeah, take a look at that and see how much things have grown in just a few short weeks. It's really remarkable. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for watching today's video and welcome back. It's always lovely to see you. And if you are a new viewer, I would like to welcome you and invite you to subscribe to the channel and make sure that you like today's video and hit the notification bell and all the stuff that we have to ask for on YouTube. Okay, without further ado, let's check out the garden. I like to grow a mix of edibles and flowers, and I do as much organic type of gardening as possible. Because I do keep this as a pollinator friendly space, I have to be really, really careful about what I use to keep the insects under control, because they can get out of control very quickly this time of year. But so far, so good. So let's just talk a little bit about what's going on here. Just a minute ago, I was sitting over there, and now I'm here. So this is my gardenia bush, and it was like a really small little plant when I first got it, and it's doing really well. I'm going to cut it back quite a bit after this bloom, and because it's getting a little big for the pot, but it smells amazing. It is my favorite, and I look forward to it every year. This is like a little, I'm calling that my little rehab nursery. I've got coneflowers that I'm rehabbing in there, and I'm growing some parsley and dill for the butterflies. And then over here is a cherry tomato. And then we'll just swing around. This is the back side of the garden. You can see I've got another gardenia in here. I grew that one from a cutting off of the big bush. So that worked out really well. Gardenias are super easy to take cuttings and get them to root. You can literally stick them in water and they will root. It is amazing. And that is unusual for that type of plant. This box is full of zinnias, and I transplanted several of them out to the front. And look at how much this has changed since the last video. Isn't that crazy? At it. All the marigolds are coming up. These all come up wild. They reseed themselves every year, and I let them go. I don't care. I let them grow everywhere. I love them, and the butterflies love them, and so they're kind of taking over back here, but I think it would be really cool if this entire corner inside just turned into marigolds every summer. There's some more zinnias that I planted, and I planted those from seed. And I'll come in here, and here's my Gerber daisies. This one has a new bloom coming, and they're kind of getting crowded out with the zinnias, so I might have to move stuff around. Honestly, I was a little concerned they weren't going to make it, but they seem to have established, and they look really, really good. More marigolds. I mean, the last time I filmed this box, it was mostly empty, and I was like feeling kind of sad about it. But now it's like, oh, it's filling in, and it looks really, really happy, and I'm loving it. It's full of zinnias. I had a bunch of zinnia seeds, and they seem to have come in really well, which I'm happy about. And down here is a parsley. That's a curly parsley. It has a caterpillar on it, but he's hard to see. So I'll show you the caterpillars on the other parsley. This vine I planted from seed, and this is a moonflower, which I've never had before, and it's really coming along. I'm super excited about that. And the plant on the other side that's trailing up is a jasmine, and it's finally establishing and looking beautiful. I'm so happy about it. And we'll swing over here. These are sedums. They should actually be planted as ground cover, but I like them so much in the pot, so I leave them. And you can see there's 2 varieties in there, but aren't they pretty? They're like in that succulent family, but these are appropriate to my zone, so I just leave them outside. I don't have to take them in, which is really nice. This I'm like very excited about. These are my gigantic zinnias, and this is just a testament to how beautiful your plants do when you put the fertilizer. Like what I do is I put the soil, and then I put the fertilizer, and then I put in the rest of the soil, and those roots are now hitting that fertilizer in the bottom. And I'll do a separate video and show you all the stuff I use, because I use kind of a lot of stuff. This is my big tomato. It's called a Boxcar Willie, and truthfully it's getting so big that it's flopping over, and I've got to figure out a way to tie it down so it doesn't fall over. But just take a gander at that. Isn't that crazy? And you can see it's got a lot of fruit coming in, and I like the fruit because it's really a cool shape. It looks like heritage style tomatoes. I don't know if they are or not, but I like the shape of them, and I've never grown these, so we'll see how they are. I actually bought them because my dog's name was Willie, and it made me think of him, which I guess that's kind of a crazy reason to buy a tomato plant, but that's why I bought it. Isn't it beautiful? And the smell, oh my gosh, the smell is so nice. Tomato leaves are amazing. Let's see, and you can see that it's absolutely full of blooms and fruit everywhere. So I'm excited to start getting tomatoes. Okay, and this is the other side of this tomato, and you can see I've got some coming in there. I've already had a couple, and they're very good. So I'm gonna allow those to just ripen up a little bit more, and then I'll pick them. And it's starting to really put out blooms. That's a parsley that was left over from last year, and it overwintered and came back, so I'm happy to see that. This is an Alyssium. They smell amazing. And here is what I'm really excited about. I've got my caterpillars. I already had some caterpillars, and I didn't move them into the enclosure soon enough, and I lost them. So I have to really keep my eye on these guys and make sure that I've got my butterfly gardening setup ready to go, because I've got several of them in here, and I don't want to lose them. I released probably 3 dozen last year, and I had several that overwintered with me, and I released 15 this spring that overwintered, which was really exciting. Let's see, this is butterfly weed that comes back every year from seed. All of the butterflies like to nectar on the flowers, but the monarch specifically will lay eggs, so I can get monarch caterpillars, which I had some out front, and I did get some footage of them, and I'll insert that now. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if something ate them or if they went somewhere to go into their chrysalis. I don't really know, but they were gone. So I have to be more mindful of them, and going to put some of this butterfly weed into pots so that I can put them in the enclosure, because I don't want to lose those caterpillars. And then in here you can see it's just full of stuff, and in fact there's poison ivy in there, so I have to get my friend over here. Let's see, the jasmines are blooming. Isn't that nice? Swing over here. This is the chives that I still have to trim the tops off and harvest the seeds. This is my beautiful rose. It's doing the best of anything. It's been outside now for over a year, so it's pretty well established. The other mini roses I have are not doing as well, but I did take a cutting from this and put out front, and the cutting is looking really good. I've got it planted in the front garden. And we'll swing around. There's the rosemary that overwintered from last year. These are like some really cool little teeny tiny tomatoes. I want you to see these. Aren't they cute? Look how little they are. And they're very good. I had the little girls over from next door, and I let them pick a batch that were ripe a few days ago, and they ate every one of them. I was so surprised. I just loved them. So yeah, kids are into these cherry tomatoes. So if you can possibly put some out, it is a great way to introduce children to gardening. And if they're eating the fresh food as little kids, they're more likely to eat it also as adults. So there's my plug for gardening with kids. But you can see this is like, they had to tie it up because it was going everywhere. So it's going to be extremely productive. And this is how I keep my tomatoes straight. I save the tag, and I just put the tag down into the pot, and then I know exactly what variety I'm growing. And these are called Candyland, and they are current sized mini cherry tomatoes. I like them. I think they're very good. But I love how they grow on that little, they look like grapes almost. I guess that's the current part of it. Anyway, okay, moving along. I'm trying to really make this a shorter video because I know they get too long to watch. This is like my nursery box, and there's a lot of stuff going on in here. So this plant and this plant and this plant are coneflowers, and they were over in the main bed that's over here. I had a lot of trouble in that bed that I think I've solved it. I'm knocking on wood, but I just about lost these. So I dug them up and I put them in here to rehab them, and they're coming along beautifully. So I'm going to let them stay here until they're strong and healthy, and then I'll replant them in a different spot. These are sunflowers that are coming up from seeds, and down here you can see I've got dill, and this is parsley, and I planted all that from seed, and that's for the butterflies. So some of that I'm going to have to get up and put into pots so that I have some stuff growing to feed the caterpillars in the butterfly enclosure. Over here, okay, this is a really sad looking coneflower, and I just recently dug it up from the front and I put it back here to rehab it. And let me tell you, the reason it's having trouble is because I have a vole issue in the front. And so I'm working on getting the voles out of the garden, and they were eating on the roots of this plant, and it's just about lost it. And you can see like the leaves were curled up, and I thought it was dry where it wasn't getting enough water, and I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And finally the tunnels started to appear, and I realized, oh, they're nibbling on the roots. That's why it looks like it does. But since I put it in here, you can see down here, it's got new growth coming there. This looks really good. This is looking good back here. So it's a little rough right now, but I think it's going to come back and be fine. And the voles can't get to it in the box. And this is also part of the coneflower. And I just went ahead and put it in there, so it should recover itself. If you're having trouble with any plants where you are, just setting up like this little separate box that I call like a nursery box to get things strong and reestablished it's a pretty good idea. These sunflowers, probably gonna dig them up and move them out front. Yeah, I'll either put them out front or I'll put them in another pot back here so I can enjoy them. I've had a lot of trouble getting my sunflowers to go this year because the voles and the rabbits are eating everything, so it has been a challenge. But my gosh, I am so happy to see this coneflower recovering. Okay, so that's the back garden. And over here are the herbs, and I'll just give you just a quick glimpse. I knocked one over when we were walking around, but they're all doing pretty well. Okay, let's go to the front. This looks like night and day from the last time that I photographed out here. Isn't that just crazy how different it is? And it's a very different garden from last year. Last year it was full of sunflowers, and I've had such a hard time getting my sunflowers going this year. And I think it's partially that the seeds are getting eaten, and I think I might have had a package of not so good seeds. I don't know. I've still got some left inside. I'm gonna go ahead and put them out because we have all this rain coming, and that's a great time to put seeds out because they do need that moisture to germinate. So I'll just put them out. But this is new, the coneflowers, and you see how I left them in the pot? I did that so the voles won't eat them, because this is where that white coneflower was living, and it looked like this last year, and you saw what it looks like this year. So yeah, the voles are super destructive. So I'm gonna just leave that in the pot and just look down in here. Look at this. This is my kind of garden where it's just packed full with flowers. And oh, over here, look at this. So this plant is called a bee balm, and you can see the bees absolutely love it. They are crazy for the bee balm, and it is such an easy plant. So highly recommend that. I didn't see any in the nursery this year, but it does grow much larger over time. This is probably 3 times the size it was last year. And of course, the marigolds. And all of these marigolds are from where I transplanted a couple from the backyard last year, and they're just everywhere. That's the butterfly weed. These I grew where I started seeds in the back, and then I transplanted to the front, and they grow and spread like crazy. And in fact, inside of these casings, those are seeds, and they're so cool looking. So yeah, they're really going to town. My lilies are struggling a little bit. We had just an insane heat wave where it was over 100 degrees, and so they struggled, and then the voles have been munching on them, so they've had a little trouble, but they look like they're settling down. I think I've got new blooms coming, so I think they're going to be okay. And the foxglove was struggling a little bit, but it's got new growth coming in, which I'm so happy to see. I trimmed it back quite a bit today. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I trimmed off a big stalk and realized that it's absolutely full of seeds. So I'm going to save the seeds and see if I can replant some. And this is a lavender and marigolds and zinnias. Some of the zinnias I transplanted from the backyard. Some of them I planted here as seed. That's a lycium. This is a gardenia that I grew from cutting, and it's a clone off of the big plant in the back. These are marigolds I dug up earlier today and transplanted, and they will be fine. They're just a little shocked in their new surroundings, but they'll be perfectly fine. Finally have a sunflower, which I'm so happy about. This is also in a pot. This was a gift from my friend Heather, and this is sage, and it's two kinds of sage. It's purple sage and a regular sage. And she showed me how she makes sage bundles using it, and so I'm super excited to really get this plant or a couple of plants going so I can make some sage bundles. One of the plants I cut it way back. I think it was dead, so I cut it back. I might check the nursery and see if they have any sage in stock and get a third plant to go in there. And I mean, the pot is so beautiful. It's gorgeous. So I'm leaving it in the pot. This is a tomato that's coming up on its own. I probably just tossed some old cherry tomatoes from last year in here. It's not exactly where I want it to be because it's coming up underneath of the lantana, and it's not ideal, but I don't have the heart to pull it up because it's doing really, really well. So I'm leaving it. Zinnias, just gobs of zinnias. They're pretty easy, and they should reseed themselves. I do recommend them. I'm so excited for them to bloom because they're a lot of color. And we'll swing around. And this is kind of empty looking to me, but I'm going to stick in some more sunflower seeds. I mean, it's full of them. You can't believe how full of this bed is with sunflower seeds, and they just aren't coming up this year. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stick out the rest of what I have. And see, this is what bunnies do. They come through and they make like a precision cut and eat the tops off of your stuff. But it will regenerate itself, so I'm leaving it. As long as there's leaves, it will regrow. So if I can keep them out of here, that's the trick, is keeping them out. These are coreopsis, and I lost them last year to mold and fungus. So I've been treating them this year, and they look like they're coming back. So I'm hopeful they're going to be okay this year. Lavender. These are black-eyed Susans, and they were gnawed way down from the bunnies, and I've been able to keep them out of here, so they're coming back. And just whole bunches of marigolds. I think this is something I planted. There's a bunch of them coming up, so I'm letting it go until I see what it is. I think it might be Cosmos. I'm not sure though. And just this seam. Here's this. See, it's kind of, yeah, it looks like it's getting ready to do something. There's that lavender. And this, see the zinnia? It's almost ready to bloom. So exciting. And now we're back around to the front. So that's as fast as I can run through this, but yeah, I want everything to be full like this. So we're gonna put out some more sunflower seeds and try to get them to come in, because I'm like really disappointed. They didn't all come in, but we'll do what we can do. Some of them I have are like supposed to be 12 feet tall, which is bonkers, but anyway, I'm putting them out. The butterflies and the goldfinches and the bees all really like them, so I'm putting them in. Anyhow, okay, moving on. Okay, this is my last tomato setup, and I've got 2 plants in here, 2 different kinds of cherries. So you can see I've got this one on the cage, And then this one I bought this spirally thing. I might get a couple more of the spirally things to help in the back to give things some structure. And they seem to be working. I've been getting, you can see this is like it's kind of an oblong shaped tomato. Those are pretty good. The ones up here, let's see, let me find it really good. Here they are. This is the, yeah, so these have been on there a while and I'm just waiting for them to turn red. Aren't they beautiful? But they're still green. They're supposed to be red, so we're just gonna wait and let them come in. I'm waiting patiently. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you, because otherwise this video just gets too darn long, I'm going to show you my fig trees. And this one is the one that I had, and this one is a gift from Heather. They moved and she had to let go of some of her things, so she gave me that pot of sage, she gave me this beautiful fig, and she gave me some really nice baking dishes. So thanks, Heather. But yeah, they're doing good out here. This one I'm gonna repot. I'm gonna get it out of that pot and put it into something similar to the other one. And yeah, they seem to be happy, and I'm definitely happy. Well, that's going to do it for today. I tried to run through that as quickly as I can. I always think I don't have that much to talk about or show or whatever, and then I start, and then it's like a million things. So thank you for being patient and watching everything. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a little something out of that. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will do my best to answer your questions. And I guess that's going to do it for now. Isn't that beautiful behind me? I live on a canal. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Right now it's pretty. Okay, that's going to do it. I'm going to wrap up the video for you now and just say thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. And don't go anywhere because lots more plant stuff is coming.